I'm a full-on rapist, you know?
The MCU is a massive franchise, spanning over 27 movies, shows, and grossing over $25 billion, making it one of the most popular and profitable franchises of all time. It doesn't show any signs of slowing down, with more shows and movies coming down the pipeline. So clearly there are a lot of fans for these movies, and when you're a content creator, it's actually pretty easy to hop on the wave and talk about these movies to get views and attention. I should know, I've done it. Hell, I'm doing it right now. But something a friend of mine finds entertaining are videos that people upload of them reviewing the entire MCU, and I personally like seeing videos like that, where they take a look at an entire franchise or series and spend some time talking about each entry. But the MCU is a bit different because it has 27 movies, so it's actually pretty insane to talk about, review, and rank all these movies in one video. So what's funny in watching these videos of people doing it, you can see the person lose interest the longer it goes. They start to lose energy and start to become less and less interested in the movies. Now I've been asked to make a video like that several times, and I'm gonna be real with you, I've tried. I wrote part of a script a while back in December, and even recorded most of it. I got through phase 1 and was working on editing phase 2, but while recording phase 3 I realized this shit is boring. When you watch and talk about these movies back to back to back to back, you start to get bored because, let's be honest, most MCU movies are fairly average or at least watchable, and the only ones actually worth talking about are the few really good ones and the really bad ones, because that's just much more fun. So after watching and reviewing them, my reviews start to sound pretty samey, with no variation. Ironically, much like the MCU. Relax, I'm joking. Mostly, not really. And before you say it, yes, the MCU itself is a very impressive achievement. Taking the comic book movie genre mainstream and becoming part of the zeitgeist for over a decade. Having 27 movies all connected and taking place in the same shared universe is impressive, so credit where it's due. But that doesn't mean it's free from criticism. You can acknowledge things that a movie does bad as well as good. And plus, I personally own like all these movies anyway, so I've been a fan since it started. But I'll be the first to tell you, most of these movies aren't that remarkable and are really just serviceable, with only a few of them actually being really bad and a few being great. Now with all that being said, what I want to do is review the entire MCU, but using just one word for each movie, and that's going to be the entire review. Okay, so as I was writing and recording this section, I realized one word just wasn't enough, so to mix it up, for most of these I'm going to do one sentence instead. I'm still going to keep it short though. Alright, you ready? Let's get into it.
If you're feeling suicidal, you've come to the right place.
Iron Man, goated. Incredible Hulk, best live action Hulk. Iron Man 2, step back for Tony's character and a waste of time. Thor, solid but predictable introduction to Thor, Loki, and all of Asgard. Captain America, the first Avenger, great first half, lackluster second half. Avengers, ugly but fun and effective. Thor the Dark World, boring, disappointing, Loki was the only saving grace. But check out this dope ass cup that I got in the theater when I saw it. Iron Man 3, ignoring the Mandarin twist, it's actually not that bad. Otherwise,
know your fucking place, trash.
Captain America, the Winter Soldier, goated. Guardians of the Galaxy, goated. Avengers Age of Ultron, trash. Ant-Man, the best parts of this movie are what they didn't change from Edgar Wright's original script. Captain America Civil War. Doctor Strange, some pretty cool visuals and effects, but that's it. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, goated. Spider-Man Homecoming, goated. Thor Ragnarok, assassination of Thor and Loki's characters, but kinda fun. Black Panther, overrated. Avengers Infinity War, literally one of the best comic book movies. Ant-Man and the Wasp, forgettable trash. Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame. Parts of it are pretty fun, but it's mostly overly long and stupid. Spider-Man Far From Home. Not bad if you don't think about it too much. I love Spider-Man, so it's hard for me to hate any of his movies.
And I feel sick.
Black Widow. About 5 years too late for a character that everyone lost interest in. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Great and fun first hour, and a decent second. Overall pretty good. Eternals. Lots of interesting ideas, poor execution. Should have been a show. Spider-Man No Way Home. A nostalgia-fueled cinematic orgasm, and I loved every second of it.
Think I won't soak no horn to the vocal cords?
And there you have it. All the MCU movies, reviewed in just one sentence. Give or take a little bit. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't checked out the MCU shows, but people keep telling me that some of them are actually really good. And it's like, I want to believe you. I want to sit down and watch and enjoy these shows, but I could just pop in Spider-Man 2 again. I'm pretty sure I'll watch them eventually. But as of right now, excluding the shows, that's the entire MCU reviewed. So it looks like I'm done. That's the end of the video.
Psych!
Bonus content, boys. Here we go. I decided as a bonus to do a tier list. I know, very original. But we mix up the categories a little bit. At the top, we have goated. These are the absolute best of the best. Then watchable. You know, they're not bad. They're good. You can watch them. Then there's skip. These are the ones that I feel are not really that important or really that good. And really you can skip them and not really miss out on much. Then there's bottom tier trash. And these are ones that I genuinely feel are pretty bad. Okay, starting at the bottom with trash, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain Marvel, Black Widow, Iron Man 2, and Thor the Dark World. I think most people would agree with that placement. So nothing really controversial there. Now for the skip category, we got Thor 1, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Eternals, Thor Ragnarok, Iron Man 3, and Black Panther. I know some people are think I'm crazy for putting Thor Ragnarok in there, but I genuinely didn't enjoy much about that movie. Yeah, so I don't think you're really missing much if you don't watch these ones. ones. But I guess you wouldn't call them straight up just bad or terrible. Alright, moving on to the watchable / good category. We got Captain America, the First Avenger, The Incredible Hulk, Shang-Chi, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Captain America Civil War. Yeah, these ones aren't that bad. I think they're enjoyable and entertaining, but I'll definitely put Endgame and Civil War like at the bottom of this list, because even though there's a lot of things in those movies that I enjoy, there's things about them that I just don't like, but it's not worth getting into here, maybe another time. And then finally, there's the GOATed category. Absolute best of the best the MCU has to offer. We got Avengers Infinity War, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2, the first Iron Man, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Spider-Man Homecoming. I think these are the absolute best of the best the MCU has to offer. They're not only good, they're fucking great, and I recommend them to anyone to check out. So there you go, there's my tier list for the MCU movies. I know a few of these people would rank either higher or lower. Like I've seen people love Civil War, I've also seen people despise it. Same thing with Avengers Endgame and Ragnarok, and same thing with Black Panther. Some people say that it's really great, others say it's absolutely garbage. They're definitely going to vary from person to person, but here's how I would put them. And I guess if you look at the first two categories as being great and good, and the bottom two being average and bad, then it kind of comes down to 50-50. Half being good and great, and the other half being average or bad. But clearly there's more average and good ones than there are great and bad ones. So I guess it's time to end this video with my closing thoughts on the MCU. And here's the truth about the MCU movies. They're mostly solid forms of entertainment that don't try to break the mold and stay in their pocket. And depending on what kind of viewer you are, this is either a good thing or a bad thing. Because they are fairly consistent, even if a lot of these movies don't stand out from each other. And yeah, most of them follow the same formula with its quips, its jokes, its humor, its visual aesthetics. They all feel very samey, but I can admit they are at least watchable, with only a handful of them being genuinely terrible movies. But on the flip side, there's only a handful actually being genuinely great movies. And for some people, this is fine. It's easy to consume content, you know what you're getting into, you know you're going to be in for a fairly entertaining ride, even if it doesn't break new ground or try anything new, and you don't really remember it the moment it ends. But on the flip side, I can understand how people are very frustrated with these movies and really don't like them because of how formulaic they are and how little risk they actually take. And really from a writing and filmmaking standpoint, they're very efficient, but not very amazing. It kind of feels like they come off an assembly line, really. And some people are just really frustrated because there's a lot you can do with these characters and these stories, but most of the time things are played relatively safe. And Marvel Studios is owned by Disney. They have the money to make almost anything possible. So I can understand how someone can be frustrated and disappointed when they watch one of these movies starring one of their favorite comic book characters and it just comes off as bland and lackluster and feeling similar to the movie that came out the year before. So I see both sides here. I get why so many people like them and I get why some people don't. Although I will say in recent years, it looks like they are taking strides and giving the director and writers more freedom, even though they are stuck inside of the MCU mold. And from what I've seen and hear about the MCU shows, they are doing some pretty interesting things. And I'm definitely looking forward to future MCU projects like the new Doctor Strange and Moon Knight. So that is good to see and hear. So if you like the MCU, you think it's the greatest thing ever, and you absolutely love these movies, then yeah, I commend you. I can see that. But if you think these movies are absolutely boring, generic, and bland, then yeah, I can see that too. I've personally been on both sides of this fence. Back when the MCU first started, all up until about 2015, I was really hooked. But then in 2016, 2017, I really stopped being a fan of it. And I basically became a loudmouth prick rallying against the MCU. Nowadays, I'm more of a mellowed out prick and became more understanding. And now I'm just pretty indifferent to whether people like it or not, because I can completely understand why people really love it and why people really hate it. I'm pretty certain you guys can tell from my one sentence reviews and my tier list I just did where I stand with the MCU. Am I more critical than most when it comes to these movies? Yeah, definitely. But I'm also a fan of this franchise, and I'll continue to follow their projects to see what interests me. But anyway, I think I rambled on long enough. Those are my thoughts and my rankings of the MCU movies. So I guess go ahead, leave a comment, let me know what you think about the MCU. Which ones are the best, which ones are the worst. Leave a comment and let me know. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, go and drop a like on it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.
I only listen to white rappers.
I think that's a good idea.
Hey, you keep us safe, all right, officer?
You've crossed the line! Who do you think you are? He's got a weapon. Suck my dick!